All right, in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how this slideshow works. This is a very simple slideshow. You'll see I have different divs. Each div has its own color: slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, and slide 4. Okay, so obviously in a real web page, you'd probably put images here with a mixture of maybe some other content. I always like to just use obvious colors to make it clear that I know what I'm doing while I am playing with CSS and getting the concepts. So first of all, I'm just going to turn off the animations temporarily and talk a little bit about how this thing works. So the gist of this is that we have a 800 by 400 div right here. And then if we look, I've got slider class, slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4 are the divs inside of it. They are each slide. So my HTML is very simple. Slider, 4 divs. Obviously, I could put any content I wanted inside of those sliders. So I could put images, I could put text, whatever I want inside of those. Oops, I still have one animation going. Here, if I change this to background color white, you can see without any CSS, the slides just stack up as plain old divs. Let me just show you quickly that we can stick an image in there if we want to. Probably worth making sure it doesn't get too big. All right, lovely. So there are those things. So now let's walk through the CSS and how it works. So the first thing I do is I look at the slider slide, and actually before I do that, apologies, the first thing to do is to position the slide. So if we come back up here, I use the slide class to grab all of the slides and put them in an absolute position. Now you might ask why I need the slider class at all. Well, the reason is that I need a wrapper that gets a relative position, and that enables me to position things absolutely relative to that wrapper class's square. So for example, if inside my HTML I had some other text, this is a header, this is a paragraph, and so on and so forth, you'll notice that my slides move down. If I were to take this position relative out, my slides are relative to the entire page. Since I'm trying to build an element of a page, it's much better if they're relative to that element, which I can then position however I want. So I like to take the outside box and position my slides with respect to that. So slide position absolute, width 790 pixels, left 5 pixels, top 5 pixels. It looks like I originally had these slides having like a 5 pixel border, and I think I did that largely just so that I could see what was going on. You obviously could remove those borders in a real application. Maybe I will now, so we'll get rid of that border. Okay, beautiful. So now let's take a look at the animations themselves. So the first thing to see is that I have each slide has its own color. background color blue, green, yellow, and red. Okay, that lets me stick the slides on top of each other, which is nice. We might wonder what's going on with this image. Looks like I may have the image actually a little bit too tall. There we go. Now we'll put the image inside. And it looks like, all right, good enough. I don't actually want to have that content in with the image, so beautiful slide for content. Okay, so by default, the last one goes on top. So the images go over each other. Now, I created a fade-in animation using this keyframes. This could be any name. This could be duck. It could be zoo, whatever. It's how I'm going to refer. Whatever name goes here is going to be the animation name down here. So it's reasonable to name it logically. Fade-in is what this thing does. Actually, fade-in is not really accurate. It's probably better to say slideshow. So let's go ahead and replace fade-in with slideshow. Replace, beautiful. And that's done. All right, so now my slideshow, what it does is it says it's 0%, opacity 0. That means it is not showing at all. 25% of the way through the animation, it shows. 50% of the way through, it's back to 0. 100%, it's back to 0. Now, why are there 4 steps like that? Because there are 4 slides. So the idea is that each slide is hidden, showing, showing, showing. I suppose there's no reason I had to make the second one the part where it shows. It could have been any of the 4. What matters is that each slide shows for 4 counts. Okay. So now I use a clever trick. Here I have an animation duration. Right now it's set to 24 seconds. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And so I'm going to use 6-second delays. So the second child has a 6-second delay before it starts this animation. Animation-delay, 6 seconds. The third child has a 12-second delay before it starts the animation. And the fourth child has an 18-second delay before it starts the animation. So now if I uncomment this line that says for all slides, we're going to turn on the slideshow animation, and it's going to be 24 seconds long, and it's going to have an iteration count of infinite, which means it goes on forever and ever. And we start with the opacity of 0. That means the first slide is going to fade in. There's slide 1. And here comes the second slide, and so on and so forth. So a couple things to note. My animation delays are dependent on my animation duration. If I want this thing, I would recommend making everything a multiple of 4. So let's say I want it to be faster. I can make it 16 seconds. Change the delays to 4, 8, and 12. And now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I have 4-second slides now. So that looks pretty nice. 4-second slider. Easy to do. Let's suppose I wanted to add a 5th slide. Slide 5 content. Right now, there's no thing telling that to be gone, so there it is. I'm going to go ahead and make the 5th child animation of 6. Now I've got to change my animation duration to 20 seconds. Let's make this 5th one purple. let's take a look. Here goes blue, slide 2 is green, slide 3 is yellow, slide 4 is red, and now we're going to move to the purple slide. Slide 5 is purple. Let's walk through what I just did. I did that pretty quick. I added slider, select the 5th child, this 5th slide child, make the background color purple, set the animation delay to 16 seconds. I changed the overall animation to a multiple of 5, in this case 4 times 5, 20. If I want this to go faster, I could make the whole thing 5 seconds. This would have a 1, 2, 3, and 4-second delay. And now we go much faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. That's obviously a little bit daunting. I can change that to 15, and then I'm multiples of 3. So these numbers obviously depend on each other. They have to be multiples of each other. And this slideshow will work for any number of slides as long as you adjust those numbers and adjust these numbers up here. Oh, I didn't do that. It's a miracle that worked. Okay, well, it worked. I won't complain. Very nice. Okay, I hope that is clear.